Welcome back in to the Sports Forum radio show here on 98.1 FM Mile High Sports. I'm now joined by Mr. Austin Hubbard, TUF 31 contestant in the finale this weekend, man. Good to have you. How you feeling?
I feel good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for giving us some of your time. I can see you're in the hotel there, getting all settled in Boston. So we're going to get into that fight in just a little bit, but I want to talk about your TUF 31 journey, everything you've been through there. Let's just start with the very beginning. You get there and you get put on Team Chandler with the veterans. Your thoughts on Coach Chandler? Is he as cool as he seems?
Yeah, man, he's awesome. I was really happy to be a part of his team. Going into the whole Ultimate Fighter thing, I was really hoping I would get on his team. And that's not a knock at McGregor. I would have been, fine being on his team. With McGregor, I wasn't sure what you'd get out of him. You know what I mean? And with Chandler, I knew he was, he's a hard worker and that he would show up every day for us. And that's what he did. So I was definitely happy to be on his team.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Connor kind of at the house, hanging out with you guys, doing the haircuts, just kind of being wild Connor McGregor. But we didn't see too much of Chandler. So was there a lot of Chandler that wasn't kind of on the show, that he was at the house hanging out and kind of hanging out with you guys? Because I also talked to one of your other teammates, and he was saying, look, man, Chandler, he's the real deal. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah, we actually went over to his house on one occasion, and he cooked us all steaks and everything. And then every weight cut that a team member had, he was always at the house for that. And he stopped by for the crawfish broil and a few other things. And yeah, I mean, he was there. It's not like he didn't never show up, but he was definitely there.
He was definitely at all the weigh-ins. We know that for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But hey, man, look, so you get there, you're on Team Chandler. Obviously, you're coming off, like I said, a veteran. You had 7 UFC fights before you got the call to go on this show. So when you did get the call to go on this show, what was the feeling like? Was it an easy yes for you at that point?
To be honest, I was in a kind of a really bad headspace when I got the call to be on the show. I wasn't really expecting it at all, and being on the Ultimate Fighter is such a vastly different, fight opportunity experience than just getting a short notice call. So at first I wasn't the most excited about it. I wasn't even 100% sure I wanted to do it. At the end of the day, though, I knew I wasn't going to not do it just because I knew that it was going to be my opportunity. I was having a really hard time getting fights and any sort of opportunity, like a bigger opportunity. So when that opened up, I knew I was going to jump on it. But like I said, I wasn't necessarily super excited about it at first.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. But let's talk about that. So you said your headspace, you weren't really there. You weren't feeling great at the time. Obviously, you had a pretty good run in the UFC. You went 3-4. You never lost back-to-back fights. I mean, I think it was looking pretty good for you. And obviously, you didn't get re-signed. And I'm sure you thought you were going to get re-signed, and it didn't work out for you. So you get that call. But before you get that call, did you debate on letting it go? Did you debate on saying, you know what, maybe I can't do this fight game. Maybe it's not for me. Or have you just known the whole time, I'm going to make this work?
No, I absolutely thought about stopping. I was going through a lot in my personal life. I just had a lot on my plate. Like I said, I just was not in a good headspace. And on top of all that, I couldn't get fights. It was really hard to get people to accept fights. And then even I accepted a handful of fights in the UFC that were short notice at 170, and they kept getting filled with other people. And so it was just like I couldn't get a regional fight. I couldn't get another bigger promotion fight. Like I was trying to get in anywhere I could, to get paid. I have a family to take care of. And I got to fight and make money. If not, I got to, move on with my life. And I was kind of in those, steps of moving on with my life a little bit. I was living in Colorado for, 7 years, and I had to move back to Illinois, for financial reasons. And, it was just going through a lot. And, quitting was definitely something I was thinking about. I've never come so close to giving up on something. I've always, thought of quitting is never in my mind. Um, Luckily, this opportunity came in just when I needed it most.
So you're glad you didn't let it go.
Absolutely.
So then, obviously, you've been through it all. You've been to the UFC. You have 4 different professional titles amongst different promotions and stuff like that. Obviously, you've been a champion in the LFA, which is a pretty darn good honor in itself. So, I want to ask you though, going into the house, obviously you're in a house with a bunch of guys. You're away from your family. You don't got your phones. You know, it's definitely a tough environment to be in. And then you get through your first fight, and for your second fight, you draw your own teammate, Mr. Roosevelt Roberts, there in the semifinals. Looks like you guys are boys. You guys are
Yeah.
friends going into the fight. There was a lot said on the show of like, hey, you know, these guys, they need to go in there and remember that this is the real deal and they got to get this done. And I think everybody can kind of relate to that because, like, if I got in an argument with my buddy and I had to fight my friend, I don't even think I could do it. And you're in there trying to
Yeah.
fight for your career. So what
Yeah.
was that like fighting Roosevelt Roberts? And you know what it took to get to the finale?
Yeah. I mean, it's first off, you live with this guy. Well, all of them really in the house. You live in them with them for 6 weeks. You know, you're all of you are cut off from the world, and so you, obviously that naturally kind of brings you a lot closer with the people you can talk to, which is everyone in the house. And then we're training together every day. Ro and I were like almost main training partners. Push, you know, we roomed together, and you know, we just got close, and you know, we felt like that they would make us the matchup in kind of for the finale because you know we felt like we were, you know, probably
Mhm.
the some of the top two competitors. And you know, it, it was just a crazy experience having to fight someone like that you're that cool with. I've never had to necessarily do it to that extent where you're living with them, training with them, you know, all those sorts of things. And then, you know, you're both fighting to get back into where you want. And, you know, I trained with him leading up to it a lot. So I knew his strengths, he knew my strengths. So, like, we really knew each other's styles and whatnot. And, you know, it's just a lot different experience than anyone could ever like imagine, especially for people
Yeah.
who've never been through it, not even at a, you know, professional fighter level, but let alone that specific like situation. So
Yep.
it was a good learning experience. That was a good, you know, opportunity to grow for sure.
And hey, it could happen again. You know, if you get back to the UFC and you got to fight a training partner or someone else from, you know, Elevation Fight Team out of Denver, Colorado, where you're fighting out of, like, it could happen. So you never know
Yeah.
again. But like you said, you're probably not going to be living with that guy to where it's
Yeah.
that personal. But okay, so you win that semifinal against Roosevelt Roberts. You advance to the finale. Obviously, the filming for TUF was a few months back, right? It was like
Yeah.
February or something like that.
Yep.
So
Back all in
it,
February.
it's been a while. You've been waiting to get this fight done. We are finally allowed to talk about it this Saturday. As I said, you're in a hotel, you're in Boston, UFC 292. You're in the finale at lightweight against Mr. Kurt Hollabaugh, who we've also had on the show. So this is going to be a fun one. Another one of your teammates there on Team Chandler. Before we ask, you know, before you go into the fight, are you and Kurt close friends? Are you guys kind
Yeah,
of close like Roosevelt?
we're cool. You know, I like him. He's a great dude. You know, everyone in the house was pretty cool. But you know, the big difference is we didn't have to live together and train together leading into this fight.
Yeah.
We've had some, you know, few months apart now to kind of get that competitive edge, you know, not that friendly edge that we, you know, Ro and I kind of had. Yeah, so it's a little bit different.
So you mentioned you maybe having to fight Roosevelt in the finale. Kind of thought that was going to be the matchup. Comparing that matchup to this matchup, what's different about Kurt? What's different about the approach? And what do you have to worry about with him?
I mean, Kurt's a great fighter himself. Obviously, he showed he had great boxing in that semifinal match, and he showed he can stay in a fight in his first match. You know, in a fight that, for lack of better terms, he was getting kind of dominated, and you
Mm-hmm.
know he still came away with the win. So you can't ever count him out. He does have a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and you know we've seen how good his striking looks. So he's a dangerous opponent, and I know he's coming ready. He's a gamer. He shows up ready to fight. So definitely not overlooking him at all.
I know you said that you moved back out to Illinois, but I do know you train here in Denver, Colorado, Elevation Fight Team. Have you been in Colorado training for this fight? Are you fighting out of Elevation for this fight?
Yeah, I am. I spent the last 7 weeks out in Colorado,
Okay.
actually, training, being away
Been
from my
hot.
family. Yeah, it was hot. It definitely cooled off the last couple weeks, but yeah, it was. I've been, I'll go back and forth, and hopefully, once I get my feet under me and kind of get out of debt and get money back in the bank and can maybe get back out there or something.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm just, one fight at a time, and just deal with things as they come.
Is this fight, I mean, total side question here. If you can't answer it, totally cool. But is this fight for any kind of money, or is this fight just to get the contract and then you sign that 3-fight deal with the UFC?
Yeah, there's money on the line, and
Okay.
as well as a contract, and the winner gets a better contract than the loser. So,
Mhm.
yep,
Oh, so if you lose, you're still in that realm of being able to get in.
yep.
Awesome. Well, hey, congratulations already, man. You've already made it back.
Yeah, thank you.
So, hey, congratulations to you there. Any shout outs, anything else you want to throw out there before we let you roll out of here and rest up for this fight?
No, just thanks for having me, and yeah, that's it.
Absolutely, man. Guys, give Austin a follow at Austin Hub 155. Make sure you follow him, check his page out. He's got a big fight this weekend. We're going to have a lot of fun watching it, rooting for you, man. Best of luck out there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.